Hey guys, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. I've got a really fun Which Way to the Candy Halloween card for you. I love puns, and for me, Halloween is all about the candy, the trick-or-treating, the neighborhood, and family camaraderie that happens on Halloween. I love the fall weather and roaming the neighborhood with my kids and collecting candy. And pretty soon my kids are going to be too big for that. So, Which Way to the Candy just really got me. I love the sentiment. It's from the Frightfully Cute Bundle. You can get Frightfully Cute stamp set and the Frightful Tags dies together and save 10% when you buy these two items together. We're going to use both. Now, the fun part about this card, let me show you. So when you open up this card, here, let's see if I can kind of give you a peek as it's going. It has this fun little pop-up scene. Less trickin', more treatin', and you're so sweet it's scary. Isn't that fun? I think that'll delight any little trick-or-treater in your life. All right, let's get started with our base. Our base is basic black cardstock, and this is 5.5 by 4 7/8. Okay, we're gonna pop it in our Simply Scored tool. We've got two pieces, one for the front, one for the back. We'll pop it in our Simply Scored tool. This is the 4 7/8 inch side, and we're gonna score at 4 1/4. And same thing with this one. 4 7/8 inch side and score at 4 1/4. Now the other piece of our base is this old olive piece that's going to connect the two together and make this cool little pop-up hill. All right, so this piece is 5.5 by about 2 1/4 inches. We're going to cut a hill using our basic borders dies, and that is going to connect these two pieces together and make our pop-up. So let me grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And now we've got that piece for our middle pop-up. Let's get a bone folder and some tear and tape, and we'll assemble our pop-up card base. We're going to work these scores so that they fold to the inside of the card. And we're going to put tear and tape adhesive on both sides. So we're going to run a line of tear and tape adhesive on both of these tabs, glue tabs right here. And before we put it together, we want to add the little pop-up mechanism. And this little pop-up mechanism is a piece of clear cardstock, this window sheet from Stampin' Up. So let's get that little guy. I'm going to remove the adhesive liner from the top of the card. This is the front of our card. And I'm going to take my piece of window sheet. This is about 1/2 inch by 3 1/4. And I'm going to position it where I want my little moon to pop up. We're going to add it right in there to the tear and tape adhesive. You can see it's about maybe 2 inches, maybe 1.5 inches from the right side of the card. You see that? So our placement is off center. It's to the right of center. Now we can take our little hill and add that to the tear and tape. So cool. Now remove the liner from the back of our card. This is the inside bottom panel and the back of the card. Take the back, and we're going to square up the whole card here and then burnish this down. Now you ready? Flip it over to the front, and now we've got that stand-up pop-up hill. Isn't that cool? All right, let's get onto some stamping now. Well, actually, before we stamp, let's go ahead and add this foggy background to the outside and inside panel of our card. That'll give it some time to dry while we're stamping. Got some craft ink, Whisper White, a sponge dauber, and some small grid paper. We're going to take our sponge dauber and our ink, And we're going to work in little circles and draw in kind of a hazy fog. Go light with your ink. You can always add more. You can make your haze a little bit more opaque, but you can't get it off. Once it's down, it's down. So go carefully. Now we're going to close the card to the front of the card and do the same thing. I'm going to bring in some of this nighttime cloud effect, this foggy look. All right, when you're happy with the effects that you've got, set that aside to dry, and let's do some stamping. I'm going to start with my Stamparatus. I've got these little silhouette witchies on the broom, and I want them to be extra dark. So we're going to do a scrap of basic white. We're going to stamp in Memento Tuxedo Black and get a really nice dark witch silhouette. All right, I did one of these little witchies and cut it out ahead of time. Let's go ahead and do the second one. I want to add my basic white scrap. Hold it down with your magnets. Let me get my stamp case in here. It's a great way to kind of level out that platform while we ink up with Memento. We're going to ink and stamp. That's a sketchy black image, not a great silhouette. So the fun part about the Stamparatus is we can go ahead and ink up our image again and stamp again and get a nice solid black silhouette. Looks good. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one out. Fussy cut it. There is no die for this little witch. You got to fussy cut her. We're going to cut her out with a little tiny white border. Not too hard to do. Just steer the image into the scissors with your non-dominant hand and open and close the scissor with your dominant hand. Make sure you support the scissor. You don't want your index finger in the loop. Either your middle or ring finger. That makes fussy cutting easier. I'm going to go ahead and zip her out and we'll do some more stamping. I've got my Memento Tuxedo Black and a couple of die cut pieces here from Basic White. So our first piece is this pierced label. I love this, dude. It's super, super cool label. You can use this for anything. This is from the Frightful Tags dies. We've also got a big pierced scalloped rectangle. I love the pierced detail on this. It kind of coordinates with the pierced detail on this for the inside of the card. So that's why I chose this shape. It's the second largest from Scallop Contour dies. And then my basic white tag for the outside. I cut this little guy using the tag die from the Pretty Pillow Box die set. We're using a bunch of greetings from the Frightfully Cute Bundle. I love it. Let's start with Which Way to the Candy for the outside. A perfect greeting for this little tag. Perfect size. All right, then we're going to stamp You're So Sweet It's Scary in the bottom right corner of our pierced scallop rectangle. And we got it. Add a spider coming down on a web. We're talking scary. That's the thing right there. Oh, should have done it on my Stamparatus. My spider's not quite dark enough. Let me get a marker and darken that up. For the inside of the card on the top panel, let's trick in more treating right on the center of that pierced label. All right, we're getting there. We got a moon. I'm going to make another one for the inside of our pop-up. I wanted the moon to be finished on both sides because when you first open the card, it is the first thing your eyes lay on. So we're going to do two moons and put them back to back. I've already stamped and die cut one. Let's get another one. This is Bumblebee cardstock. We're going to stamp our moon with Bumblebee ink. He looks like cheese. I love it. What else do I want to do? A little tiny scrap of pumpkin pie. Let's switch out for pumpkin pie ink. A little scrap of pumpkin pie cardstock. I'm going to ink up my pumpkin. And then I'm going to take my thumb and just dab the ink off the stem of the pumpkin and change the stem to brown using my Early Espresso Stampin' Up marker. Stamp that little dude, and we're going to cut him out fussy cut too. I've gone ahead and cut some of the little fences ahead. They're adhesive on the back with the Stampin' Up adhesive sheets. Got a piece of smoky slate here. Let's put some adhesive on the back of that. And we're going to just die cut one today. So I've got my Stampin' Up adhesive sheets. Pull this guy, and I'm just going to lift up the edge here from the score. This is about the right size for my scrap. And which way do I want to do that? This way, I think. I'm going to cut that away. Now this paper is self-adhesive too, and we can make another little sticky fence piece. These, you're going to thank yourself for using the adhesive sheets when you have to adhere these little fence pieces. All right, so that's my smoky slate. We've got our moon. We're going to die cut that one. Got some Early Espresso. We're going to make a tree. Got a bumblebee circle here. This was cut ahead with the layering circles dies. It's a 2 3/8 inch circle. We're going to turn that into the crescent moon on the front of our card. So let's get some die cutting here. I'm going to grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and my Frightful Tags dies, and let's get to work. I think we can do all this die cutting in one pass. So let's pop the fence on the smoky slate and the tree on the Early Espresso. Got the circle for our moon. I love this little cheese moon. It looks like a Swiss cheese, doesn't it? Now we're going to take that 2 3/8 inch circle from the layering circles. We're going to overlap our bumblebee circle to make that crescent moon. Let's go ahead and cut all of our parts. All right, and there's our little fence. Don't worry about weeding them out yet. I'm going to show you a little trick with the adhesive. All right, here's our sample. Let's start with the outside of our card. I did a little bit more die cutting ahead of time. I made another one of those curves using that same border die and some old olive cardstock. Let's go ahead and adhere that to the base of our card along the bottom edge. And now we've got a little ground for the scene we're building. And then we got our fences, and they are pick and stick. So we're just gonna run the fence along the side of our thumb. You don't need to get your fingernails underneath there. It'll just pull away. And now if you carefully fold and pull the release back as you go, the adhesive sheet is going to completely weed that little fence for you. All the little negative spots are out. You can just go ahead and add that to our card. We're going to do the same thing with the other side. Opposite all the way across. If you take your time, it'll be completely weeded for you. I'm going to try to make our fence pretty level. Cute. Now, our next portion is going to be a little bit different. To have a fence that continues, we don't want two posts in a row, so we're going to snip the post right off of this piece of fence. We're going to roll, remove the adhesive liner, and then stick that fence right on there against the post so it continues. See? So now we got a fence that runs continuously. I need a little bit of adhesive here for my layers. We're going to adhere the die cut layers here together. Let me show you these really quick. I've got black glitter paper, 2 3/8" circle, cut with the layering circles dies. Got black cardstock. This is the 2 13/16, second largest scallop, cut with basic black cardstock. And then we cut pumpkin pie, this largest swoopy square, using the Hippo and Friends dies. Let's use a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue and layer those to make our focal image here. Beautiful. It's like a night sky with twinkly stars. I love it. Then our moon, we're going to add that guy. And I'm going to be generous with my liquid glue so that it adheres to that rough surface of that glitter paper. And we can turn that over and burnish all the layers from the back. It's easier and we don't slide anybody. Now, adhesive. We're going to put adhesive on the back of our tree here too. Now this is where it's going to get just a tiny bit complicated because we want the tree both behind the fence and in front of this layer of labels. So what we want to do is just gently lift our fence. It's going to be able to lift a little bit. We're going to add the tree behind but not burnish it down. Slide the labels in behind so that it's centered on the card, and the tree goes over the labels but behind the fence. There we go. We can turn that over, burnish that down, and our fence pieces and everything. Haha, I love it. Now our little witchy needs some black Stampin' Dimensionals. We're going to pop her on the front with some mini dimensionals. Ha ha ha. Pop her up in the moon. And I love the puns. Where's which way to the candy? Which way to the candy needs a bow. Got some black and white gingham ribbon here. We're going to slide through the tag front to back. And then tie a loopy bow. Even cuter now. Let's trim that away from the spool. We can get our black Stampin' Dimensionals again and add a few to the back. Let's pop that right on the card. All right, we're going to come back in just a minute to embellish with our cute stars. Let's finish up inside here. We've got our little panels. Let's glue them down. You're so sweet, it's scary. And now our moons. We're gonna take these guys and put a bit of tear and tape adhesive on the top of our window sheet on both sides, and then remove the release paper from both sides. And then we're going to adhere a moon to both sides. Like a little moon sandwich. And then I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive to hold those two together. Get them lined up nice and straight. Now our little witch, she's gonna go on the moon, kind of hanging off the end there, little liquid glue, but don't put any on her tail end or all the way down to her feet because she's gonna go off the edge a little bit. Ha, she's so funny. Less tricking, more treating. And I want to put that in so that when the card is completely flat, it doesn't interfere with the greeting. Uh-oh, it stuck to my thumb better than it stuck to the card. All right, burnish that down. Ha! We're getting there. Got a few more fences, so let's apply the fences the same way we did to the outside. All right, this is completely adhesive, so you can see there's a little sticky there. what you can do with that is grab your embossing buddy or a little bit of cornstarch on a paintbrush or a little bit of baby powder on a paintbrush and just touch it until that's not sticky anymore. And then our fence needs to be modified again like we did for the outside. So the last piece we're going to peel and then we're going to trim. And then we have a cute little continuous fence. I love this fence so much. One of the best parts of this die set. Well, there's a lot of good parts. I love this label. There's a cute tag that we didn't use on this card. Frightful Tags is a cute die set. The big spider web is awesome too. We got our fun little pumpkin that we colored and cut. Let's add that next to that fence post for a pop of color. Whew, so cute. My spider body needs a tiny little touch up. We'll use a black Stampin' Up marker and just black that. Good, very good. Now the last thing we need are the cute stars. Let's go ahead and embellish. I'm going to use the black ones on the inside and the orange ones on the outside. Got a big one and a little one. Oh, I got a little one getting away over here. Let's see if it'll still stick. Yeah. And then another little one. There's our embellishments inside. Now outside, gonna do big one and a little one, and then a big one out here, making kind of a triangle placement, and then we'll do same thing on the other side. Make a little triangle placement, 2 big ones and 1 little one. All right, I found with these stars that they benefit from a little extra pressure after you put them down so that you don't lose them. So give them a good push, really burnish them down so that they're stuck good. And there's our card. Which way to the candy? Less tricking, more treating. And you're so scary, it's sweet. You're so sweet, it's scary. Not you're so scary, it's sweet. All right, you guys, what do you think of the pop-up card? If you've got any questions about the project, email marissa@kitchentablestamper.com. To shop Stampin' Up 24/7, you can buzz over to marisaalvarez.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching.